Hello everyone, this is Mumbo and welcome back to another episode on the Hermitcraft server. It is episode 63, and today I am starting things off next to this little guy. Here he is. This is the thing that we built in the previous episode of Hermitcraft, of course, for the build battle with Iskall. And for those of you who haven't seen it, this is Iskall's build. Now this thing is, it's horrendously scary. I think his name is Bumbo Weirdoni. It's like the brother of Bumbo Cactoni, and he's kind of taken the teeth and the mustache from the cactus and put them on a mumbo jumbo. And I have to say, it is quite horrifying. Like, it's a genuinely terrifying build. Now, there is a chance we'll be coming back to this area later on in the video, but for the time being, I want to head off into the distance and go back to my base. But before I do, I just want to say massive thank you for the amount of support that I got on that video. And I know that Iskall got a huge quantity of support as well. You guys seem to really love it, so I'm looking forward to doing more of that sort of thing in the future, because it's always hilarious. As per usual, I've got myself lost. Absolutely no clue where I'm off to. So as you guys know, in a recent episode of Hermitcraft, we built this rather wonderful contraption, villager breeder, and also enormous trading hall. This thing is absolutely massive, but at this point in time, it isn't particularly usable. Like, we have it all here, but we don't have anywhere to stand. And we can't really use it without actually standing inside the redstone contraption. So today we're going to work on fixing that and making this place a whole bunch more pretty. So my plan for this area is to have a big water pool down at the bottom right there. So we're going to have to fill in this entire area with prismarine or dark prismarine or something like that. And then we're going to fill it in with water. And then we're going to have like a glass area up at the top here. So all of this inside this square is going to be glass, and all of this down at the bottom here is going to be water. I think that sounds like a good plan. I think that could look quite cool. It will fit in with the ocean themes and just look nice, and obviously be spawn proof as well, because this really needs to be spawn proof. Part 1 of the build is now all completed. We have got the bottom all in place, all of the dark prismarine is in. We've also laid in some sea lanterns as well, because as I was building this, obviously as I was making my way back, when it began to get dark, I became very aware that this had essentially become a big spawning platform. And we really can't have things spawning here. I can't say that enough, because obviously if a zombie spawns, then it's going to wipe out all of these villagers. So that's all done. Now what we have to do is actually get the water and place it in. And I swear there's a technique to fill in large areas of land with water. Yep, this seems to be working. So I think I just have to basically go along this line, create an L shape of water. I did that back wall and this area here, and then I just have to go along here. This is easy. And that looks really, really cool. Glass time. The only slight issue is, I think I might be all out of glass. Okay, we have a couple stacks left, but I don't know how handy that's going to be. And after a little bit of resource gathering and a little bit of glass making, we now have a full plaza. So this is it. This is where we're going to be standing, and this is where we're going to be doing all of our villager trading. It looks pretty good. Really, really cool. I love this going over the top. These things will end up going away. But yeah, this has turned out really nicely. Okay, so the next thing that we have to do is... Oh, we have to do the actual minecart villager killing systems. We need to kill the villagers and also return the minecarts. How on earth do I want to do that? I also just realized these things don't have any buttons, which means that they're not actually working units yet. Bit of a progress update for you. So I have created the minecart track which runs around the back of the villager breeder, and these villagers will travel along here. They'll then hit this cactus, hopefully pop off here, which means that they will fall straight through that hole, and they will drop down onto a magma block, which I'm going to have way down there, so it's out the range of the village. Next, the minecart will be picked up by that hopper. It will travel along this hopper line out the back, go into this dropper, which is going to create an item elevator, which will send it up to the top and drop it into those hoppers over there, which means it will be put back into the system, put back into the dispenser, so that we can then replace the villager that was removed with a new villager. I hope that makes sense. So here comes the first test of the system. I've just dropped this cleric out of the villager trading hall. He's making his way across. and he should drop down onto the minecart rails, and he is powering away. I'm actually going to struggle to catch up with him here, but we should see that when he reaches the end... What? Well, that was surprising in pretty much every single way. This guy's now stuck. Oh, he's trying to make his way back to the village. I don't want to hit him. Oh, what can we do? Oh my word! After that totally failed first attempt, I've made some changes to the system. So once again, we are sacrificing a cleric through the system right here. And this time we should see... Alright, I don't know if I'm doing something totally stupid here. Get down in the hole. Well, at least that works. I just can't work out why this doesn't happen when the village is in there. Is it gonna work? Okay, so it broke. It broke it. This guy is being bizarre, though. That was not what I meant to do. So, I suppose... slabs... all around here? I'm gonna be honest, this was meant to be the easy bit. I don't understand why this is being so complicated. It still doesn't work. It still doesn't work. Look, this guy is gonna eventually come back around and... well, then it worked. I just don't understand. I'm going to do what all great people do and completely ignore the problem and hope that it solves itself. We have got a bunch of glass to smelt here. We only have this tiny little super smelter. It's been a bit of a struggle. It has been a bit of a struggle, but we've got there in the end. So this is the item elevator, which is going to take the minecarts back up to the top and drop them down into the dispensers. Now we just need to try and work out how on earth this system down at the bottom here works. I can't ignore the problem anymore. We're going to have to do some extensive testing, and I'm also going to start clearing out the villagers from this thing because there's a whole bunch of rubbish ones in there. Now I would massively appreciate if this just works first time. So this guy comes through. He hits that. He breaks. That's good. Minecart gets sent upwards. And it looks like it's in the water stream. I mean, I can't really tell. And I'm not going to be able to tell. It doesn't seem to be stuck anywhere. That worked. Good. Okay, we now have ourselves a fully functional system. I clearly just leaving the problem alone has fixed it. So I'm going to clear out all the rubbish villagers from this area here, and then we're going to start cycling some new ones in. I don't seem to have any of my resources, so I'm sincerely hoping that I've just left a huge quantity of them over here. Right, that's good, silk touch. That's good, there are my repeaters. There are my stone slabs. Okay, I was getting worried that I was just running out of all my stuff. The system doesn't appear to be entirely efficient, but I think every single one of the villagers kind of goes twice. So it goes once, bounces back, and then kind of makes its way back, and ends up going through the system. That works fine for me. Now that all of the rubbish ones have been cleared out, I'm currently in the process of repopulating our villager trading hall, because as you can see, it's looking a little bit empty at this point in time. So we have a little queue of villagers who are gradually making their way through the system, and eventually they'll drop down, and we should have some good ones in there. This seems to be a fairly never-ending cycle. Not only do I have tons of villagers up here, but I also have tons of rubbish villagers up here, which means that I'm dropping them into the system, and then very swiftly dropping them out of the system. Oh, it's like recycling them through. I've gone through so many rubbish villagers that I'm actually going to add in a circuit up at the top right here, which will allow me to manually divert this minecart rail off into the killing area so that I can just instantly kill any villagers that I don't think are going to be any good. Because, I mean, all of these guys are just pants. And that should just about do it for this little circuit right here. Now, there has been a little bit of logistics involved getting the redstone line across, and we've had to rearrange some things, had to work out some minecart stuff, but that should now be all functional. So, if this redstone lamp is on, then that means the villager will be kept. So let's just hit this button. And that, to me, looks like a black coat. I don't want them. So we will send him off to be killed. That's perfect. And then when we hit this button again, That looks like a brown coat to me. So we keep him. Excellent. And then we hit the button again. Cleric, definitely don't want him. So we flick the lever and he gets diverted to be killed. This is awesome. Alright, well, I'm very glad that we've got this system. Is that a black coat? It's so difficult to tell. It was a brown coat. That was a good save. When in doubt, save him. Black coat. Definitely. But we're going to keep him anyway, because I'm in a little bit of doubt. Honestly, it is difficult to tell. That's the only flaw with this system. Yeah, the previous guy, he was a black coat as well. Might have to log in with the second account and kind of hover it from above. After many hours of getting this system all up and running, this is the selection that we've been left with. Not exactly ridiculous, but if we take a look in here, well, we've got ourselves a farmer straight off the bat. This guy's actually a shepherd, so I don't really need him. But if we take a look at these guys, so Depth Strider 3, we had him last time. That's not the best. That guy's a cartographer. This one's another librarian. Efficiency 3, but for 39 emeralds. Blimey. That's got some good carrot trades. Blast protection 2. Luck of the Sea 3, I think that was from the previous episode. Cartographer. And, I mean, Silk Touch, that was from the last episode. And this guy will also be from the last episode. No way! Not successful! And with this tiny little bridge, I would say that just about does it. This thing is now completed, fully finished. All of the decoration's done, all of the redstone is done, all of the villager transportation is done, everything is completed. We can clear up the mess and move on to the next project of today's Hermitcraft episode. But before we do, check out how cool this thing looks now that we've cleared out all the rubbish. Epic. I love being able to get these things set up. And you know what? Speaking of things looking epic, I feel like maybe we should work on the AFK platform a little bit. Because that is, well, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Let's see if we can do this. That went surprisingly far better than I was expecting. Right, in terms of designs, I think I'm going to be going for a kind of diamond. We've got to find the central point, and then we're going to build another diamond up at the top here, which kind of mirrors this one. Obviously not as big. That would look a little bit daft. Now this should look a whole bunch better. We've got all of the quartz, we've got all the prismarine, we've got the sea lanterns, everything's lit up. I should be safe from mobs up here. I am going to put some chests up at the top though, just so we can put items in when we AFK. But let's see what this thing looks like from down beneath. Now, I am considering putting some quartz slabs along the bottom, but so far, so good. Oh, that looks so much better, doesn't it? Definitely quartz across the bottom. I think that will really improve things, but I can't believe I just sat there with this horrible pillar just going up to the top for so long. That needs to go. Oh my word, this place is deadly. I'm just going to come out and say it. Placing things on the underside of things is just a massive pain in the backside. I wish there was some way to just place stuff in midair in Minecraft. Just go boop, and then there's a slab hovering in the sky. Oh, it would just speed things up so much. You know, I always say that my base kind of looks like something out of like an alien film. I definitely think the flying UFO above it is helping that situation right now. Definitely extraterrestrial, there's no doubt about it. Seeing how cool this thing looks with the quartz on the top has reminded me that actually, I kind of want to have quartz on top of all of this area. So you see these top sections right here? I was originally planning on having the quartz borders going around the outside, but I completely forgot about it, to be honest with you. But I think it will look seriously cool. Like, once we get that in, with all the quartz that we have in the base, that will look epic. But we are going to need a shed load. Like sheds and sheds of quartz. So I think we should start things off with a 1 hour quartz mining session, and we'll see how much progress we can make. So in today's time-lapse chat, I want to talk to you about time-lapse chats and music, because I'll be honest, I wasn't actually planning on doing a time-lapse chat for this time-lapse right here. Instead, I was planning on doing a musical time-lapse, but I spent a bunch of time trying to find music, and unfortunately, I couldn't find any. I couldn't find any that I felt good for the video. So instead, I've decided to do this time-lapse chat where I talk about that. Blimey, that was a bit of a tongue twister. But what I thought I'd ask in this time-lapse chat, and I know I've done this a couple times in the past, but this was before polls were available on YouTube. So now polls are available on YouTube. Now I can officially ask the question and also hopefully get myself a bit of an answer. Now, I know some of you really like time-lapse chats, and I know some of you like musical time-lapses, and I want to know which ones do you guys prefer, because it's difficult to tell from the YouTube comments. You know, you see a bunch of comments in a row saying, oh, we want musical time-lapses, and then you think to yourself, well, everyone wants musical time-lapses, but there's a chance there's only 5 people that want musical time-lapses. The rest of you want the time-lapse chats, but it just so happens that all of those are in a really concentrated space. So I thought I would ask you officially, which ones do you prefer? The poll options will be time-lapse chats, musical time-lapses, or a mixture of them both, whatever kind of fits the style of the video. I hope that makes sense. I hope I haven't like muddled your brain with all of my words with that one there. That was a little bit confusing for me to say. But anyway, let's pop back onto the Hermitcraft server. And we're back, and we have got enough quartz to make 24 stacks of quartz slabs, I believe, if my maths is correct. And the coolest thing about this is, as you can see, my pickaxe is completely undamaged, and so is all of my armor, because of course we use the fortune pickaxe as opposed to a silk touch one, which means you get all of the XP as you do it, which means that all of this stuff mends itself. So I was just flying around, picking up quartz left, right, and center. It's actually a really efficient way of doing things. But anyway, fingers crossed, we have enough quartz to actually cover these things. I've placed in a few of the slabs from some of the ones that we've got in my storage system. But I don't know. I mean, this is a big old base. So I thought I would take on the outer edges first. And this is what it looks like. Pretty cool. It's such a tiny little change, but it does look really, really good. And having those quartz just kind of topping off my coffee tables here, at least that's what you guys are calling them. Wow, it makes the base look more grand and kind of richer almost. I don't know, maybe I'm going insane here, but I love the way that looks. Wicked. That's great. The only thing is I don't know if I quite have enough quartz to do the inside edges. So let's give it a whirl and see what happens. And that, my friends, is that. We have got complete coverage over the entire thing. I actually wasn't expecting to be able to finish all of that. But there we go. Done. Base looks really, really cool. Very, very glad that we took on that project, and we've done some, like, we've been a bit all over the place in today's Hermitcraft episode. Obviously we did a whole ton of work on the villager area, which actually there should be a handful of villages inside this thing, so I might chuck them through the system. But then we did some extra work over by the mob farm. We've done some mining sessions, resource gathering, we've done storage system work, and also we've fully finished up the base now. I can't think of anything else we really want to do. I mean, we've pretty much nailed it. So to round things up today, I think you all know what I have planned. It has been ages since I've been able to do any form of AFK session. All of the recent ones have been unsuccessful, so I think it would probably be a good idea to see if we can actually sustain one now that we have our awesome AFK platform. I'm going to remove all my items just in case. They are all now set in there, and I'm going to chill out up at the top and hopefully gather a whole ton of mob drops and also sugarcane. And we're back on the server, and as per usual, things have not gone particularly well. Server has been closed. Thankfully, I'm not dead. That's always a positive thing, but the only issue with the server closing is that it always breaks this mob farm. Now, I'm going to try my best to make extra specially sure that this thing isn't broken. And it does look okay, so it looks like we've kind of got off lucky there. But still, always something to look out for. Anyway, let's pop down into the storage system and see if we have any decent drops. And the answer is... kind of. Like, we managed to get a decent number. Clearly we weren't AFK for too long. But that's not bad. Wow, that really isn't bad. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this episode on the Hermitcraft server. If you did, please also hit that like button, and if you really loved it, then make sure to subscribe. But thanks for watching, guys. This has been Mumbo, and I'm out. I'll see you later. And as per usual, you should check out the latest film on the filming channel. Link will be on the end screen.